to you, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, big shout out to you. Comment of the day, without a doubt. Hello and welcome back to the Cricket Nerds podcast. I am James and I'm joined by Zach, and we are here to discuss the absolute woes of the Punjab team, really. They faced off against Delhi Capitals today. It was touch and go for a while as to whether the match would even happen because of COVID, but it did. And Punjab Kings played probably the worst game I've ever seen a Punjab side play. And that's saying something because we've had some big collapses in the past. But, you know, just looking at the top six of Punjab, Mayank Agarwal, Shikhar Dhawan, Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingstone, Jitesh Sharma, Shahrukh Khan. These are six very talented players, and they were six of the softest dismissals I have seen in the entire IPL 2022. I don't think any of those wickets were they weren't earned necessarily. It wasn't bad bowling, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't good bowling. It was just they bowled and Punjab played awful shots and got out very stupidly. So, yeah, jump in any time, Zach, because I will just complain and complain.
Well, I think you summarised it quite well in terms of they bowled and we got out. And yeah, a few bright sparks in that innings were Mayank Agarwal looking all right until he got out, and Jitesh Sharma looked all right as well. But there just seemed to be this lack of intensity in today's game. I don't know what it was, but when the commentators were talking at the start of the innings, there just wasn't, I don't know, there's normally a bit of intensity when there's an IPL game going on, and there just didn't seem to be that. And I don't really know why. It's like they got a wicket and there was just a lack of intensity. It was almost like, oh, well, a dismissal has just happened. There we go. Which I found a bit strange. And I think that kind of reflects on how Punjab were getting out. Like you said, there wasn't anything special from Delhi's bowling, except they were bowling in good areas, and Punjab just kept finding the fielders or not hitting the ball properly. Like Mayank Agarwal's dismissal. Yes, he was a bit unlucky because he chopped on, but he just needs to get behind it and just play it with a straight bat, not an angled bat, so it goes back onto your stumps. And there's just little things like that that are just frustrating, really, especially for a Punjab fan. I can imagine you being very frustrated right now. And Liam Livingstone, he's been so good during these last few games, and he just ran down the pitch when he shouldn't do. You've lost your two experienced Indian batsmen in Shikhar Dhawan and Mayank Agarwal, and then you just run down the pitch and stumped. And you've only faced two balls before you've done that. Is take your time. And Punjab have this. I think what went wrong for Punjab is their mentality. They have a game plan when they come into the batting. It's just, let's go from ball one and let's try and score as many as we can. And that would work sometimes. It does. And it's exciting when it comes off. Like, imagine if Mayank Agarwal, Shikhar Dhawan, Johnny Bairstow and Liam Livingstone played that way and all of it came off. That would be awesome to watch. But this shows that with those highs, you also get these lows where you can get skittled, which happened today. And I think sometimes there needs to be that level-headedness to think, okay, we've lost two within the power play. Let's get to the end of the power play. Let's build a partnership and then move from there. And that just didn't happen, which is disappointing. What did you think of Delhi's bowling? Because it wasn't awesome, like we've said, but it was tidy and they all played a part, really.
Other than Shardul Thakur, who didn't bowl that well, I thought he gave a bit too much width and his length wasn't quite there. They all bowled pretty tight. So Khalil Ahmed, I was very impressed with, actually. He was getting the speeds up there. I thought Lalit Yadav was brilliant and kind of unlucky only to get two overs and 2 wickets, to be honest. I thought, as far as bowlers went, he was potentially one of the highlights, because he's an off spinner, and he was hitting the spot every single time very, very, very well. The Fizz, I'm always a bit of a fan of the Fizz. I like his variations, and he bowled a very sensible game today, especially at the end, when like he could have tried to just target the stumps of the tail enders, and Arshdeep was like, I mean, it was embarrassing to watch. It's always hurtful to watch like your 10 and 11 try to bat, because they really can't. And yeah, he was like walking like, a few inches down leg to try and cut balls that were outside off. And we've seen that kind of display before in a village level, and Arshdeep wouldn't have been out of place there. Axar Patel was outstanding in terms of just line and length. And if you're going to play stupid shots, the best bowler is going to be Axar Patel, because he puts it on the spot. He's got a really awkward high release point, and he hits the stumps. And then Kuldeep Yadav, I thought he bowled really well to the tail enders, actually. You saw the class of the actual deliveries that he bowls, especially to people that are bad at batting. So like Rabada, he can hit a nice cameo when he wants to, completely outfoxed. Nathan Ellis, he is not a proven batsman at all, but again, completely outfoxed. So Kuldeep Yadav, it was coming on really nicely for him. He was hitting the spot every single time.
Let's not take away from the fact that this game has been affected through COVID. They had to change stadiums last minute, and Punjab might have had plans for the old pitch, and they're having to set a total against a pretty decent bowling attack. But yeah, there's no excuse really, because I think that there's issues with the lineup and the balance that Punjab have, because you're not going to drop Kagisa Rabada. You're not going to drop Rahul Chahar. You're not going to drop Arshdeep Singh. You're not going to drop Vaibhav Arora, because those 4 bowlers have been really good all tournament, but they're all number 9 or lower batsmen, which means because you're not dropping them, they have to bat 8 till 11. And if you've got that mentality of we're just going to go from ball 1, we're going to try and score as much as we can, that works when you bat till 9 or 10 even. But when you bat till 6, which was the case in this game with Kagisa Rabada coming in at number 7, you can't expect to bat like that. And I think what they should have done is, as I've said, notice that you've lost 2 wickets in the power play, reassess, bat out a few overs, knowing that in the last 10 overs you can have a go. I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't clever cricket. It was, and I think that's the frustrating thing, really. It wasn't clever cricket. I don't think we can really comment on Punjab's bowlers, other than the positives, which is Rahul Chahar bowled a very good first over. He got the wicket of Prithvi Shaw. It was a decent delivery. And Nathan Ellis, in that situation, bowling 2 overs for 15 runs, actually looked really good. And looked a much more in-control bowler than Odean Smith. So, yeah, there are positives. And you've got to look for the positives when you've been smashed by another team. So, yeah,
definitely. And I think I do have to say that Punjab have been a bit unlucky in a way, because if you take a team like, let's take RCB, for example, they've got a star-studded lineup, absolutely brilliant players.
The best lineup they've ever had.
Yes. And
the whole
probably the most out-of-form player that you've got in that lineup, it's a toss-up between Anuj Rawat and Virat Kohli. And they're both playing pretty well. And so, when you've got star players, you've got Glenn Maxwell, you've got Faf du Plessis, Shabazz Ahmed playing out of their minds, like some of their best cricket they've ever played. And then you've got another star-studded lineup in Punjab, really. It's particularly the batters. The bowlers, they're not that amazing, really. They're not that scary. But the batting, like, if all of them were in form, you'd be thinking, oh my goodness, these guys are amazing. Like, Jitesh Sharma has been a shining light throughout. He's just so inexperienced that he throws his wicket away at the worst possible time. But like, Agarwal, Darwin, Bairstow, Livingston, and Shah Rukh Khan, they can all play really well. But they haven't. Shah Rukh Khan has had a lot of chances and he has batted very poorly throughout this whole IPL. And I think it is time for him to go. And I think Johnny Bairstow is also treading on very thin ice at the moment, because we dropped him. We dropped Bhanuka Rajapaksa when Johnny Bairstow was available, and Rajapaksa was in absolutely stellar form, and he's just sitting there on the bench thinking, "Hang on, I was getting like 40 runs off 9 balls before this guy came, and he's getting 9s and 10s at a strike rate of 100. What's going on?" And I mean, if you look at the comments of any Punjab social media, you will not scroll more than 5 comments without seeing someone mention the name Rajapaksa. Everybody loves him. Everybody wants to see him.
And it's interesting because I don't think I've heard of him before the tournament, really. Until he got picked, I'd never heard of him.
Yeah. No, but when someone like that comes into form and they look amazing, you play them, because form in a short tournament like this is more important than class. There we go. I've said it. And then the other factor is that we don't have a good all-rounder at the moment. We've got a decent batting all-rounder in Liam Livingston. He's not really being bowled that much. So that's not really going to help us bring balance unless we actually start bowling him and he bowls well. But we're lacking a good Indian all-rounder. I think before the tournament, we were hoping Harpreet Brar would be able to bat and then bowl as well as he did last season. But he didn't bowl as well as he did last season, and we dropped him quite early on. And he's not a great batsman either.
Yeah, he's not. Harpreet Brar, you retained him because he bowled well last season in terms of his economy was good. And he had a really good game against Royal Challengers as well. But he's not like some of the other all-rounders we're seeing in the tournament. He's not a Hardik Pandya. He's not a Krunal Pandya. He's not a Karan Pollard. He's not even a Wanindu Hasaranga. He's not like
he's a poor man's Shahbaz Ahmed, isn't he?
He's not a big star, is he? And yeah, you are lacking that all-rounder. I think you were hoping Odean Smith would be that role, but he's never played in the IPL before. He's had a few good appearances for West Indies. He did well in the first match against Royal Challengers, who were off in that game. So yeah, you are missing that key all-rounder. And you said it, James, in our first, in our IPL predictions video. Everyone should go watch that. It's doing well. Yeah, you said that all-rounders, the team of the best all-rounders will do really well in this tournament. And yeah, Punjab are lacking it, and it's really affecting their balance. So in terms of their balance then, in terms of what they can do differently, because I guess we could talk about Delhi Capitals, but I think Punjab kind of handed them this victory. In terms of what they can do, maybe they need to bring in Rajapaksa. They also need to think about maybe bringing in some more experience. And they have a player called Rishi Dhawan, who our Indian viewers probably know more than us. Oh, you might know a bit, James. But I've looked at his stats, and he's very much an experienced player. He's 31 years of age. He's played a lot of cricket. He's even played international cricket.
He played in the first ever IPL for Kings 11 Punjab. That's a fun fact for you.
That is a fun fact. But he strikes at about 120, which isn't quick. He's not at the Punjab Kings standard that they're looking for, but he might help them in that middle order, maybe provide a 30 ball 20, or even, well, maybe you want a bit more than that, but you see what I mean? He's just there in the middle for players to bat around him. What do you think, James? What can they do?
Yeah, so I mean, our Cricket Nerds group chat, we were throwing around various 11s, and at the moment, I'm erring on the side of opening with Bairstow and Darwin, having Mayank at 3, because Bairstow, I think, can do better when he's opening. especially because he's a red ball player now. So let him play his nice shots. Let him play the lofted drive over the inner circle for 4. So Mayank at 3. Then I want to see someone like Jitesh Sharma at 4, because he's slightly less experienced, but he plays a very good cameo, and he's been very impressive, actually. Livingston at 5. I want to spread out the talent a bit. Rajapaksa at 6, because he goes from ball 1 and he's been brilliant. Rishi Darwan 7 for the reason that you said. And I think Rishi Darwan can be a bit of a floating player as well. So if we lose Bairstow and Darwan in the power play, stick in Rishi Darwan, just bat a few overs, slow it down, let us breathe a bit. And then Rabada, Chahar, Arshdeep, and either Vaibhav Arora or Sandeep Sharma. We only really gave him 1 game. So yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see us spread out the talent a bit, intersperse some of the Indian, slightly less experienced players with some of the more experienced Indian players and then the overseas players. But really, this all comes down to we need a bit of form.
Yeah.
We just need some of our players, some of our big players, to get back into match-winning form, because any one of our batsmen on their day has won games for teams. They've hit like extraordinary knocks.
Yeah.
And, I think almost all of them have got a century to their names at some point. So all we need is one of them and it'll do us a world of good.
Now, obviously, I support Bangalore, and we've got lots of Bangalore fans, and Benji supports Chennai, maybe one or 2 Chennai fans. But we see some really good insights in the comments. Rick and Patel, he's great at giving great
cricket nerds analyst is what he is.
He's awesome. And keep going, because we love to see those insights from you. But we have a lot of Punjab supporters. We are the second Punjab Kings think tank. So provide James with some much needed knowledge of what Punjab can do moving forward. What do you think would be their best 11? What do you think they can do? Because it's not great. Obviously, it's not Mumbai levels of not great, but it's you need some more wins. You need to look more confident as a team.
Yeah. And if you've watched this far in the video, drop a little comment saying with a hashtag, bring back Rajapaksa. So there's a little test, because if you have watched this far in the video, then we'll know, because you'll have dropped that hashtag. So yeah, I think that's a good place to end.
Talking of comments, though, comment of the day. It's a new cricket nerd segment. This one, I can't actually give you a shout out because I can't pronounce your name, because I think it's different writing. It's not the English language. So I'm sorry, I can't read your name. But you will know who you are, and everyone will know who you are, because they'll go back to our last video and look at it. But it says, DK, you can't just defeat me. If DK remain not out in the next match, he will gain immortality. And that's what we like to see. Dinesh
that is definitely comment of the day. It looks
the god
it's
of
written in sort of Russian alphabet. So yeah, leave some comments down below. Who knows? You might be comment of the day tomorrow. Right, who's playing tomorrow? We need to predict what the result's going to be.
Let me just have a quick look, because I don't have any idea, which is good, isn't it?
Oh, I've just got it up. It is Mumbai versus Chennai. Ooh, the battle of the losers.
The wooden spoon race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My money is on Chennai Super Kings, because Mumbai, I don't know if they could buy a win right now. However, I think we could see a very, very good game from the young Dewald Brevis. So he's a one to watch, but I think it'll be a quick fire 50 in a losing cause. What's your prediction?
I'm going to back Chennai. Benji's not here. Someone needs to do it. So yeah. Come on, Chennai.
Yeah.
Get it together. You can do it.
Go on, you old boys.
We didn't do heroes and villains, but heroes are Delhi and villains are Punjab.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Right. That's good place to finish. We've had a great time talking about, well, not such a great time talking about Punjab. let's put this game
It's
behind.
always a great
Put
time
this game
talking on
behind.
the Cricket Nerds. That's the main thing.
It's been lovely. And so yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We may have passed 250 subscribers by the time you're watching this video, which is lovely. We're getting so close to 300. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you listen to the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast site you can think of. We are probably there. And follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod. So thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.